Peace everyone, Unmask Art here and welcome to day 27 of Inktober. Oh, almost there, Everybody just hang on a little while longer. So I had quite a few of you send me some drawings over the past couple days, so let's go ahead and look at what you guys are doing. First one here, I absolutely love this one that Mandy did of a corgi running through squeaky toys. Just hilarious. It was the best part of my morning so far. Here's another one that she did for Ship, the Kraken taking down a ship. I really love the Japanese style that she went for there. Here's a squeaky rubber ducky. Super cute, David. Keep up the good work. Almost done with Inktober. Here's one from Naomi, really good inked squirrel. Now doing stuff like this with ink can be quite tricky, so she did a really good job. Here's one from Scotty. I'm not sure which prompt he was going for, but he said it was creepy, and I have to agree with him. Here's one from Laura. I'm not sure if she's participating in Inktober, but she sent me these flowers. They were beautiful, so I just had to share them. So here they go. Here's one from Ellis. A very nice superhero pose. Way to go, Ellis. Nice work. I think I have another one from Ellis as well. Yes, this one's a little bit darker, a little bit creepier, but still very good. Nice work on the perspective. Looks like you're kind of looking down. Here's a digital piece from Gihan. He's only sent me a few over Inktober, but it's always nice to see that you're creating. Cute little chicken. Here's one from Renata. I believe this one is, yes, this is for Juicy, and it looks like she did some pointillism with this, so very good. Here's another one that she did, and this was kind of the idea I was thinking of for Blind, a Lady Justice. Here's one, a super adorable one from Sebastian, Jerry from Tom and Jerry with the cheese. Definitely brings back some childhood memories. Here's a really cute mouse from Helen. I absolutely loved this one. I just loved the composition of it and the subtle colors. It was really good. Here's one Diane did. This definitely brought back some childhood memories as well, going back to the old school look of Mickey Mouse. Here's another one she did for Ship. I thought this was a really cool idea for the ship, kind of putting it in a fish. Gives it a cool look. Here's one from Don. He did a mouse as well for Squeak, kind of poking out of a hole in the wall, it looks like. Really good. And here's another one he did for Ship, which is just fantastic. I don't even know how he's keeping up with Inktober doing pieces like this. And then here is another look at Mandy's corgi. You can see a little nugget flying up there. Oh gosh, it's the best. It's the best. I love it. Keep up the good work, everyone. Seriously, best part of my day is when I wake up to like a thousand messages of all your guys' work. It kills me sometimes. You guys think of the funniest stuff in the world. But anyways, so today is a pretty cold and wet day, so I got some tea here with me. And yeah, I'm pretty worn out. Let me say hello to everyone. Wendy, Sana, Anna, Christy, Ephigenie, Gihan, Renata, Lady Shadow, Chrissy. Did I miss anyone? White Clover, Cece, hello. Really rad art everyone sent in. Yeah, I definitely agree. My yesterday drawing did not turn out the way I wanted it, but I'm hoping today is better. Well, today is a new day, so brush off all the dust from yesterday and just jump right in. So as you can see, for today's prompt Climb, I decided to do King Kong Nugget climbing the Empire State Building. I was really struggling to figure out what I was gonna do for Climb. Now I'm gonna keep this really kind of sketchy. I want it to be sketchy, so all of my lines are gonna be free-handed and just loose. I'm just going to kind of play around with this picture as much as I can. Just have fun with it. I'm just going to have fun with it. I'm not going to take this drawing serious. At this point, if I were to take a drawing serious, I don't know if I'd make it through the live stream. Yes, Chrissy, you made it. I'm glad to see you. I unfortunately have to stream the Patreon live stream much later, so I might end up missing you over there on Patreon, but at least you got to come over and hang out here for a bit while I draw this this scene, this city scene of King Kong Nugget. Yeah, I'm trying to follow my sketch lines because I actually did use a ruler to sketch this out, but I want all of the inking to be much looser and kind of sketchy and messy. I want it to be a little messy. I'm going to use a bit of markers to create some shadows and some lighting, I guess you could say, but for the most part I want it to be terrible looking, I guess. Just a fun sketch, nothing difficult, nothing complicated. Because I know I got to stream later, just in a few hours, again on Patreon. So I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself for today's prompt. And besides, I didn't really like the climbing prompt. I would say of all the prompts that Inktober has had so far, I would say climbing is my least favorite. But I like the idea that I came up with minimally. I think it's a fun idea. I just gosh, 27 days in, everyone. 27 days in, and my brain right now just. It feels like I'm carrying around a bag of mashed potatoes in my head. It's just 100% mush, and every idea that I'm trying to think up is like slowly degrading less and less of all the previous ideas. I felt like on day one I could just come up with 1,000 ideas, and then just each day it just slowly gets less and less. It's like, oh gosh, my brain, it just doesn't have anything else. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm sure a few of you that have been struggling through Inktober can relate to that feeling. I've never drawn so consistently and so much in all of my life. Like, I don't even think when I was in school and I just sit there and doodle in class, I can honestly say that there was days where I wasn't drawing when that's all I was kind of thinking about back in the day. So this Inktober has been just kind of a crazy experience, to say the least. But super fun. I've been really enjoying seeing all of you guys' work as well. It's been fun sharing it. I am gonna miss the daily streams. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna miss them when this is over. But it's gonna be a relief to finally catch a little bit of a break. That's for sure. Let's see. Might have to put my alarm clock to catch Patreon. Yeah. Well, don't feel too bad. It will always be there when you wake up. White Clover Fine Art with Christine. So proud of you. Thank you. I watched me and my wife's first pastel. Yeah. I saw that you posted that. And Brenda, I'm glad that you enjoyed that. Has Inktober has Inktober taught you anything new? Yeah, that daily streams are a lot harder than I thought they were. Because a while back ago, I considered doing a month-long stream challenge. It was just all about streaming, and of course I'd draw every day, but I wouldn't be trying to complete a drawing every day. That's where it gets even more difficult, because I do a lot of prepping before my Inktober live streams. I would say minimum 3 hours. Like, I don't know if I can do it faster than 3 hours. With this one was probably like 2. Like, as far as coming up with the idea. So not just completing the drawing, but also preparing what I'm going to do, coming up with the idea, and prepping it for the live stream, so I'm not on here looking like I don't know what I'm doing. So minimally, I would say I spend about 5 hours a day doing the Inktober live streams, and to finish a piece, to actually finish a piece every single day, that's the real challenge. But I would say, what else did I learn? You know, I think what it's not necessarily that I learned it because it was something I wasn't unaware of, but you know, there's this idea that, you know, everything you do has to be perfect, everything you draw has to be perfect. A lot of times artists are always comparing themselves negatively to other artists. They'll look at somebody's work and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I could never create something that good. I could never draw that good. I could never do this or that. I'll never get that good. All of my artwork is, you know, crappy or whatever. But you know, doing Inktober is humbling for just about any artist. I don't know how much humbling I need at this point, but in the sense that, you know, some days are wins and some days are losses. Like, you know, not every one of my Inktober pieces is going to be a favorite of mine or a favorite of your guys's, and that's the true test of learning and struggling, drawing something and messing it up. And I have no room. I have no way to hide this from you guys. I mean, I really am just putting it all out there as far as trying to finish a piece every single day. And, you know, sometimes they come out good, sometimes I mess it up, sometimes, you know, it's a little embarrassing almost, but you guys love it regardless. And besides, I have most of the fun that I get from this is just hanging out with you guys anyway. Yeah, I had to stream a little bit early today because I got to do 2 streams today. So yeah, so this one's going to be easy, quick, not too quick. I wanna just relax and do this one. So I'm just scribbling the inking real quick. Like I said, I want it to be kind of sloppy, messy, and then I'm going to go in and have some fun with the markers. But that's today's plan for sure. And I'm just going to chat with you guys and hang out. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, because I'm in the mood to just chit chat, to be honest with you. That's what I want to do today. I want to spend more time talking than really paying attention to what I'm creating here. I guess what I'm looking for in today's piece is not only, you know, creating this scene, but also getting out of my own mind. You know, sometimes when you're working on a piece of work, the biggest obstacle in your way is just your own thought process. You know, a lot of people are really like those loose watercolor paintings where people like splash paint and they drip stuff and blah blah blah, and they're always like mesmerized by how lovely the artwork looks. But when you stand back and you look at it and you're like, well, you know, the paint is just kind of thrown on there a little bit, but it's just put in a certain way that appeals to the eye, I guess. And so today I'm going to try to ignore what I'm doing and not focus too much on it, just to try and get it to look loosely created. So I think trying to think of the old artist. I think it was Picasso. Picasso said that it took him a lifetime to learn how to paint like a child. I might be choosing the wrong artist, and I'm paraphrasing the quote, but it's something along those lines. And it's just the sense of drawing without regard to what other people are going to think about it. And you could tell from Picasso's work that he definitely didn't care what people thought, because his work is weird. It could be a different artist, but I think it was Picasso. Hello, Riss. Let me see, did I miss anything? Speaking of wins and losses, restarted my last piece for the third time, and I hate doing the same thing more than once. See, that's exactly what. Commission. Yeah, if it's a commission, you kind of have to, make sure that's perfect. What time is the Patreon stream? The Patreon stream will be in 4 hours from now. So, Stephanie, I believe that is going to be 1600 your time, 1700 mine. If you don't make mistakes, you perhaps miss the best folds of your life. I wonder what month will be the monthly drawing. I love my watercolors done. Another one yesterday. Yeah, I look forward to getting into some watercolors a bit. Yeah. I think it will help me loosen up my work, because I tend to be quite rigid, and I like that in some cases. You know, it's nice in portraits where I stick to, kind of what I know with portraits and precision. But in some of my other work, especially my pastel landscapes, those are the ones that I want to get a little bit looser with, a little bit more free-handy, I guess, for lack of better terms. Yeah. So I think this is what I'm practicing on today's piece. Just loosening up my artistic vision. So that's why I'm not using a ruler. And kind of exaggerating these buildings a little bit. Let's see, you guys got a lot. The loose style is actually really hard to do, especially to me, since I am so detail oriented. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Anna. The loose style is something that I just feel like is a goal to obtain. I've kind of mastered the precision aspect. Now I want to work towards the loose, more feely, touchy kind of work, I guess. And it's funny that I'm working that direction, because when I was starting out with painting and drawing and all that, I was I was so I was so intent on learning the techniques of like hyper realism. Like that's where I was like, oh, I want to paint like that, where it just, you can't even tell it's a painting. It just looks like a photograph. Um, yeah, but now that I've gotten there, or now that I've reached the point where I feel like I could, if I wanted to spend the time that it takes to do like the hyper realistic stuff on a single drawing, then I could do it. But the closer I've gotten to spending that kind of time on a piece of work, the less I've enjoyed it. So I find it less enjoyable to go closer to realism, and I'm starting to feel more enjoyment as I let myself, I guess, make mistakes a little bit. Because some of the mistakes I think that I've made in some of my recent pieces or something like that, I kind of like. I guess it goes back to my idea of where you get your kind of signature, your style. You know, I haven't had a question like that in a while. But the way I see it, you know, a lot of people kind of struggle, or they think that they're struggling with their kind of art identity, how they get their own personal identifiable style. And a lot of people think that there's some magical technique that they need to develop, or they need to think up some new, original, out of the box way to paint something, you know, whether it's throwing paint at a canvas or a bunch of other weird stuff I've seen people do. But the truth is, or at least it's my truth. You guys can let me know what you think about this. Now I've talked about developing your own unique style before. And there's this drawing journal that I did last year that I think is just perfect, the way that I describe it throughout the drawing journal. And essentially you don't have to work towards or try to develop your own personal style, because I feel like when you are creating, you unconsciously tend to do the same things over and over again, which include the subtle mistakes that you find perfection in. So when I'm drawing something and I feel like I got it perfect, I might look at it and be like, that is exactly the way that I see it and I want it. But somebody other than myself looking at it might find it to be a little awkward or a little bit off, and they might refer to that as a mistake, whereas I might refer to it as a perfection. However, looking at the same drawing, they might see something and be like, that right there is perfect, and I'll look at it and see, I don't know, I don't really like that the way it is. I think that's a mistake. So there is no precision that is unilateral among people as to what is a mistake and what is perfection when it comes to artwork. So it is your own collection of mistakes, if you want to call them that creates your original style of work. And it's the way that I describe it is, when I sign my name, you know, writing a check, or because I used my credit card or whatever. Nobody writes checks. But when I sign my name, I don't think about it. I just, you know, my hand has done it for so long that I just do it. And that has become my signature, because the way my hand moves, I can't really change it unless I consciously change it. But it's the natural unconscious thought of the way that I sign my name that makes it my signature. So it's the same thing when you approach artwork. When you're working with your hands, you move your hands in an unconscious way that you have built towards creating whatever it is you're working on. So whether you're painting, whether you're drawing, whether it's digital artwork even, you've developed these micro muscles of unconscious thought that moves your hand a very specific way that nobody will ever be able to match with any real precision, and that is what creates your own style. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I really don't. I was talking about like how I like to. I was drawn towards realism, and now I'm kind of going a little bit looser because it's so much. It's more of a mental challenge than a physical challenge. But yeah. So you guys have to let me know what your thoughts are on developing your own style and whether or not you agree with me with my analysis of how I think an artist's style naturally develops. The way I think of explaining it, or to put it into an analogy, is your style develops the same way as your voice develops. You don't think about how your voice changes as you grow up. It just naturally changes. And when I'm speaking, I'm not making this voice up. This is just the sound of my voice when I speak. So when I create artwork, I'm not creating artwork trying to make it look like anything else. It's just, this is the artwork that I create. This is the way my hand moves across the paper, and nobody else's hand is going to move that way. So that is my original style, because nobody can match the way my hand moves. I probably missed quite a lot in the chat because I've been rambling on. Does your personal life ever affect your ability to make art? When you have outside non-art stresses in life, does it affect your art? Trying to think of the last kind of stressful thing. I would have to say, of course, because usually stresses will diminish my desire to work on art. So, but I would say that a lot of people kind of use art to say things about their emotional state, and I've never been that way as an artist. I've always just drawn what inspires me. So I think maybe on an unconscious level, if I'm going through a hard time or I'm stressed, then those emotions will influence what inspires me. So maybe I'm trying to think of a decent example. Let's say that I got into a new hobby. Actually, I can use magic for that matter. So I've mentioned it probably more times than I should, that I got into playing Magic: The Gathering this past summer, and I won't lie, I kind of obsess about it a little bit. I mean, just yesterday I was playing and I won this match, and I turned over to my wife, just kind of like elated with victory, and I was explaining the absolute magnitude in which I was able to win, because I wish that I could fully express the gravity of the win that I had. And so I was explaining it to her, and of course she knows a little bit about Magic because I talk about it all the time, and we've played together quite a bit. I taught her how to play, she's just not into it as much as I am to play it as often. But I forget what I was talking about. Totally forget what I was talking about. Oh yeah, right. So that, strangely though, I don't know if that hobby, that excitement over something new, has really influenced what inspires me to draw. But I have kind of gotten a little bit into a few fantasy type drawings and things like that. So the artwork, all the artwork on the magic cards and stuff like that can be inspiring as well. But I don't think anything directly has influenced my direction. I'm trying to think if there's any direct relationship between a life event and some of my artwork, but I can't. The earliest influence I can think of was actually back when I was in the 6th grade, because my sister had gotten into a little bit of trouble, and she had to go to the juvenile kind of place where they put you in there for a little bit, like life detention, I guess you could call it. I forget what it's called, but and that influenced a bit of my early artwork, because I was really sad around that time, missing my sister. But fortunately, everything turned out fine, and she turned out to be a lovely person. So I don't know what degree that influenced her good decisions later on in life, but it seemed to correct whatever it was she was going through at the time. And so, yeah, I that was a little bit stressful in my life. I guess it influenced my artwork a bit. Sorry, I know I kind of went a little crazy with that question. Let's see, what else did I miss here? I love how those seem when other people have done the loose impressionistic style paintings, but I hate all that I do that way. Yeah, I know it's tough to do that kind of style. Your people in general and storylines are where you shine, in my opinion. Oh, my storylines, my little manga pages, huh? You like my manga pages? Yeah, I like that. I like that too, Anna. The style where you mix kind of the looseness into realism. I love those portraits that people do where it kind of just draws in right into the face, but the hair, the shoulders, and everything else is just kind of starts fading away into the canvas with these really broad brushstrokes. Yeah, I'm really drawn to that kind of style as well. Really difficult style for me to emulate. But I think that it would be cool to work on a piece, something like that, work on something like that in the future. I think I would enjoy that. I accidentally drew him smiling, but he's not supposed to be smiling. Now he's gonna look cynical because he was supposed to be kind of... I imagine him being a little frowny, so I'm gonna try to turn his frown. Now I just made him look like a vampire. I don't want a super specific style because I don't want to be shackled to one thing. Yeah, I'm the same way, Christine. I see other artists that do the same exact thing over and over and over and over. And I'm glad they found something that they love so much that they can just do it every single drawing. But I would get too fatigued. I can't do the same thing over and over again. I love drawing portraits, but I can't draw a portrait every time. I like doing landscapes, but it would drive me nuts to do nothing but landscapes. I love using pastels, but if I only used pastels, I would go crazy. If I only used colored pencils, I would go crazy. Any medium, I have to jump between mediums. I have to jump between styles. I have to just constantly change. And I think that it might be somewhat of a hindrance, actually, as far as being a professional artist, because your audience is constantly in like, well, what is it going to do next? Well, is it going to be colored pencils? Is it going to be pastels? Just a bunch of different kind of random stuff. And over on Patreon, most of my tutorials have been with just colored pencils exclusively. I've done 2 mixed medium pieces with markers and colored pencils, and I think I only did 1 pastel piece. And so it's been, it's been mostly colored pencils, and I don't want the people that support me for colored pencils to be, turned off by the idea of me doing a pastel piece. So it's been kind of a struggle deciding whether or not I was going to solely focus on colored pencils. I like to work on colored pencils. I know colored pencils really well, and I think that I can teach the medium really well, that people tend to be very receptive to the techniques and the way that I teach them. And pastels, on the other hand, I don't know how many people I really have that are interested in learning pastels. So I have to constantly struggle with the balance of which one do I do. And fortunately, as of now, I just have a bunch of awesome people that support me, regardless of whether I'm using colored pencils or pastels, because a lot of them use both as well. So I've kind of gotten lucky in that way. But say for instance I were to just focus on colored pencils and I exclusively did tutorials on Patreon with colored pencils, I might be able to grow a little bit more consistent audience if I only did colored pencils, because then I'd get people that only were interested in colored pencils, and they wouldn't turn away from me just because I also do pastels or whatever. I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up. My signature is still ever evolving, always affected by my mood. Sometimes it looks like a couple different persons signed. Yeah, my signature is never the same. I have to, when I sign things in Poland, like important documents, I have to sign my name so that you can actually read it. So I literally just write it. I just write my name like I normally do for my signature on important documents in Poland. The U.S. never had that happen, but otherwise you can't read it, because my first and my last name are just one thing, and it just, let's see. I'll just zoom in and show you my signature. That's my normal signature, the one that I don't think about. Now I'll try to do it again. Yeah, so it's a little bit different, but for the most part the W and the S is pretty clear. But when I sign my name in Poland, yeah, that R is a little messed up. Yeah, so normal, Poland. Yeah, my signature is always kind of evolving. Sometimes I get anxious when I have to sign my name on important things and I just mess it all up, and it's like I add extra squiggles, and sometimes I put the O before the T in my last name, so it's Sotler instead of Stoller. So yeah. And that just makes the signature analogy to your artwork that much stronger, because your style in artwork is always evolving as well. Usually when I'm pastel is going to be your next challenge, Riss, once you master colored pencils. I would get so bored staying in one medium and one subject matter. I am all over the place myself. Yeah, me too. Which I don't think I need to say that. You guys can just go through my videos. You can literally find everything from a frog to a banana to a portrait and to anime. What else? To weird hand snails. Anybody remember my handsome snail drawing? That one was quite a long time ago. I'm curious how many of you remember that one. Sometimes when you're nervous, you forget your name. I don't know if I've ever gotten that nervous before. Oh, actually, no. I sometimes forget my name when I'm asked for my name in Polish. Like sometimes the mail carriers, they come and I have to sign, and I answer the door. I'm like, Dzień dobry. They're like, what do they usually say? They just say nazywam się, or I don't even think they ask. I think they just say nazywasz. Sometimes they just say nazywasz, like last name, like, or what is your name, and sometimes it just catches me off guard, and I'm like, oh my god, what's my name? But partially because I'm doing a little bit of translating in my head when they ask me for my name, and it makes me forget what my name is, and I just end up staring at them blankly and awkwardly. All right, so I think my inking, surprisingly, it still came out fairly straight. Some of my lines are broken up a little bit, but I kind of like it. I kind of like the looseness of it. Let's see. I'm gonna start shading now with a bit of markers. I'm just going to use gray. Let's see. I'm going to start with the cool gray. Oh, I'm still zoomed in. Thank you. How's that? I'll keep it there. So I'm not zoomed in too much, but you guys can see everything now. Thanks for letting me know, Wendy. Anyways, when I need to make some official call, I need to first do the dialogue in my head, write it down, and even write my own name down. Yeah. I know the feeling. It's hard when you do it in a different language, you know. All my lines are getting all my lines are making me dizzy when I'm trying to figure out, okay, what way is the building facing again? But I guess it doesn't really matter here, since I can always I can always color over this lighter gray. Gotta be a bit more careful when I'm doing the shadows though. My favorite movie for Italian is Eat, Pray, Love. Yeah, I had never seen that movie. Alright, let's do a bit of shading. Let's go with 7. I'm going to do basically, I don't know what direction, I'll just say the east facing walls and then the north facing walls. No, yeah, that's what it will be. East and north. Try to organize my thoughts so that I can fill in the shadows and everything correctly. I'm gonna use the markers then to add in some details. I'll probably use a bit of ink also to add some more windows and details. I want this to almost look like a Sunday comic book in the newspaper that was, you know, really quickly done, where it's just like ink and a little bit of, usually ink wash. I imagine. I imagine that it's more ink wash than markers, but where not everything is filled in all the way. I think that's the way that I want to go with this. Try ice or a crochet blanket. You think you're dizzy now? It's enough to make you go mad. Yeah, I could only imagine. I crocheted for a teeny tiny small amount of time. I made some hats, and that was about it. But doing something as large as a blanket, just I was like, I can't do that. That's too much for me. That's too much for me. What will you do differently for next year's Inktober? Well, the first thing that I'll do differently is not use this diaper paper. But I will also, I think I'm going to be focusing a bit more on color. So I'll be doing a lot more colored pieces than I am this year, because next year I will have my good sketchbook that I have down there that takes the color really, really well. So that's one thing that I will definitely be doing differently. All right, let's see here. I think I'm going to shade our nugget real quick. So So I'm just going to give him a little bit of a kind of a cast shadow here where the one I want to try to create somewhat of a light source coming from the east. So I try to shade him appropriately. Maybe even use a tiny bit darker shade of gray. There we go. I think that captures the light fairly well. I need to do this building here. Let's see. What are some of the things that you guys might do differently for next year's Inktober? Since I was asked the question, I'm curious as to what you guys are thinking. Or maybe actually better yet, if you're not, thinking about it, tell me what you would like to see me do differently for next year's Inktober. What was it that you feel like you liked that I did for this year, and then let me know what you think I should do for next year. I'm curious as to what you guys have that I should do differently. There's too much light on your face, it makes black spots. Oh. That must be my... Oh, okay, let me try to fix that. There. Thank you for letting me know that... Yeah, it as it gets darker in my room, because I use a lot of the natural light coming through the window to, create as much light as possible. Because if the green screen isn't lit up well enough, then it starts to mask some of my face. Nugget is looking boss like, what? Come at me, bro. Yeah. See his facial expression? Yeah, Nugget's the boss for sure. That's the right picture for my mother-in-law. She hates slugs. They eat everything in her garden. I love slugs. You love that I've live streamed every day? It's been super fun, Christine. Yeah, it's been really fun. I like the idea of making a whole comic book. Oh, that is kind of a cool idea. Trying to make like a page of a comic book, like a Slug Nugget comic book every day, and try to incorporate the prompt. That's kind of a cool idea. I like that idea. I thought I would try to do really simple drawings. For example, for one day, drawing would be done in just one stroke, and day 5 would be done in 5 strokes. Oh gosh, that's that would be tough. That would be tough. I hope that you will do some black and white drawings as well as colored inks. For next year, for sure. Yeah, I won't do everything in color. I can assure you of that. So the first Inktober piece, the horse one, I really liked the way this looked. It's so sad that it's on diaper paper and it's not as good as it could be if I was using better paper where I could layer the colors on a bit heavier. So yeah, I look forward to next year where I can, you know, really get a lot of details in the black ink as well, because I like the black and white ones too. One of my favorites from this year that's black and white, let's see here, where's it at, was this one here. This was one of my favorites that I did. This one might be my favorite, actually. I'm not sure. There's still 4 days left, so I could end up making a new favorite. But I really, really liked the way this one came out, and I wish it was smoother, because the paper got a little wrinkly, and it doesn't take on the gray quite as well as I'd like. So I look forward to doing pieces like that next year as well. I won't be doing, you know, just colored pieces, because I don't think I'd be able to keep up with that. So you don't have to worry too much about me doing just colored pieces, because I wouldn't do that to myself. Let's see, what else did I miss? Adventures of Slug the Nugget. When I was young, I loved drawing Disney characters. Oh, it's not the end. It's not the end of the stream yet, Mandy. I still got some playing around to do. And besides, I want to hang out with everybody. Still makes you laugh when I refer to it as diaper paper. If you iron the paper, it gets better. Not all paper, Renata. Not all paper can be ironed. If I'm trying to think, this paper absolutely. Actually, I'm not sure about this paper. I don't know if this paper can be ironed, but I know that there are papers that do not respond well to being ironed, and they actually curl worse. In fact, I have a toned tanned, a Strathmore toned tan sketchbook. I know it's here. So the paper in here. Now let's see, what is this paper made of? This is recycled paper, partially recycled paper. So this Strathmore paper cannot be ironed if it gets wrinkly. Fortunately, this Strathmore paper actually does quite well with ink. I'm trying to think of where I used a lot of ink. This background is all ink, and it's super smooth. So this paper is fairly, it's pretty thin, but and you can totally see through it. But it actually handles ink really, really well. Let's see. Am I gonna take any of your favorite pieces and redo them on better paper? You know, I might actually. You know, I really like the colored ones that I did. You guys know which ones I'm talking about. This one here. I liked that one so much that I think that it deserves to be its own piece. Like, I think that it should be done properly, not slopped down on this paper with markers. And the next one, the one that I did for blind, both of those I think deserve a little bit more than what I gave them. So I don't know. I can't guarantee that I will do those ones over again, but I've definitely strongly considered the idea because I like them so much. I feel like they do, you know, kind of deserve redemption. And I'll probably do it mixed medium with a bit of marker and a bit of colored pencil to get them just right. Let's see what else. They're looking great. Thank you, Linda, very much. Yes, even on the diaper paper. Woke up as early as I could, but was up late last night. You know, I was actually up pretty late last night too, like 1 or something like that. I didn't think Anna was going to work when we were getting ready to go to sleep. I was like, "Are you going to work tomorrow?" She's like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" And I said, "Because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and you like, what'd you stay up so late for?" But what new book paper do you have for next Inktober? So I think I shared it. I'm trying to remember the name. Trying to remember the name without having to dig it up. I can't remember. So this is the one that I'm most likely going to use for next year. It's a little bit bigger, much better paper. I did the study on it with the colored inks for that one Inktober piece. This was my little study. It looked a lot better in here. But this paper's nice and thick. And then I did this piece. I wanted to play around with the ink a little bit. I did this, just goofing off. And so this is the actual paper. The Zeta series, mixed media, sketchbook. Who's it by? Stillman and Byrne. So it's nice, really nice rigid covers too, really thick. I got this off Jackson's for, I don't know, like 20 pounds or something like that. So it's fairly expensive, but really, really nice. Not too many pages though. I think there's only 40. I think there's 40. But yeah, that's the sketchbook I'm most likely going to be using next year. I'll be much better prepared. That is for sure. You should make a video of all the Inktober pieces, like short clips of each stream pasted together in one 4 to 5 minute video. Actually, after Inktober, I do want to put together kind of a sketchbook tour of all of Inktober. I don't know if I don't know, maybe I'll take some video footage from the live streams, but I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this sketchbook tour, kind of showcase everything that I've completed. I feel like it's a good video to make as far as a sketchbook tour, because I think it seems to be popular on YouTube after Inktober. A lot of the bigger artists that are doing it usually do a sketchbook tour, because I don't know, do you guys know of any other artist that is live streaming all of their Inktober pieces? Because I'm not aware of any at the moment. Yes, so to send me Inktober pieces, you just private message me on Facebook. The link to my page is in the description. So you just send me a message with the drawing, and I'll share it. I don't know if I'll share work tomorrow, but I hope to have enough by Sunday. It just depends on how many of you send me artwork. If everyone sends me artwork, I usually have somewhere around 15 or 16 drawings that I can share. So the more you send me, the quicker I will share your work. So I'm just going to use the markers here to lazily put in windows with very little precision, and I'm just going to keep adding some details into this piece until I feel like I've got it the way that I want it. For the most part, everything's kind of done, but I'm having fun hanging out with you guys, so I don't want to jump off here too soon. It's Yeah, it's about 1400 now, so I have 3 hours before my Patreon live stream. So I would say maybe another half hour. So I'll work on this piece and hang out for another half hour with everyone. As long as you guys keep asking questions. If you slow down with the questions, then I might have to jump off a little bit sooner than that. So keep the questions coming in, and I will keep goofing off with this drawing. I have not seen any who live stream every day. Okay, I have seen others who are live streams all of their Inktober pieces. You're just that much more special. Oh, thank you, Mandy. I want to send my piece for United since I'm doing everything to top my Joker sketch. Okay, yeah. I don't, it doesn't matter what order you send them. If you send me yesterday's today, then I'll share it whenever I share pieces, everyone else's artwork. So just share them as you complete them, I guess. Whatever works for you is fine by me. I haven't looked at Hobby Lobby for artwork. I must have missed. That must be a different conversation. And I'm going to put in a bunch of windows for the Empire State Building here. I feel like it might be better to do it sideways. Yeah, I think that. That was supposed to be haven't. Yeah, I assumed that. Okay, I haven't seen any others. So am I planning to draw yourself for Mask, or you have any new ideas? I don't know. I think I'm gonna do something different. I think I'll let you guys do your drawings of me for the mask prompt, or the drawing of my logo, whatever. I think that would be kind of cool. So if you guys are interested in maybe doing a picture of myself, let me know. And I guess maybe I'll just post a picture of myself or something like that on my page, and you guys can use it as reference or something. I don't know. If you guys are interested in that, I don't know. That honestly, it kind of makes me feel weird. I don't want to ask anybody to draw me, so I won't. But let me know, and I'll try to think of something. Maybe, I know, if you want to do a portrait of me for the mask prompt, message me on Facebook, and perhaps I'll just send you a picture, and you can either use it or not use it, whatever. What is the next big art supply that you are planning on getting? The more I talk about markers, makes me want to get markers, but I just can't afford them. So I'm gonna have to be disciplined financially and not get them. But I think the next big art supply is either going to be watercolors or more colored ink. So one of those two, or both. It might just be both, actually. So if I'm gonna buy one, I'm most likely gonna buy both, because I'd love to get into watercolors, and I'm liking the colored inks. Uh, for the sketchbook tour at the end, do you use video or something like Publisher for more of a slideshow effect? No, for the sketchbook tour at the end. No, I will film it with my camera, and I use Final Cut Pro to do all my editing. Okay, so James Burke is doing Inktober Everyday video on YouTube. Any good tips for drawing buildings? I'm really bad at it. Learn perspective. That's one thing. If you're good at perspective, you can be good at buildings. Use a ruler when you want precision. I think what's for instance, this is actually 3-point perspective. If you are unfamiliar with 3-point perspective, it is simply removing vertical lines. So if you know 2-point perspective, this 2-point perspective. Let's see, we have a line coming here, and then lines coming here. So one of my vanishing points is right here. Here's one vanishing point. The other vanishing point would be off the page, like here. So here are my 2 vanishing points for the horizon, somewhere around here. Obviously it's flat. So here and here. But when you use just 2-point perspective, all your other lines are vertical. However, with 3-point perspective, and this is a way to create that illusion of something being really tall or being really high, because you can actually do it opposite. If you put your 3rd point way up here and you have all your vertical lines pointing towards that point, you create this illusion that you're actually looking up towards the building. So that's what's happening with this image right now. But conversely, if you put your 3rd point down at the bottom, you can put yourself like standing up. It's a bird's eye view is what it would be, and all your buildings, all your lines coming down make the ground look really far away. So that's a few quick a few quick little tips on buildings, but for this isn't really the ideal picture to give tips on, because I'm being really loose, and basically what's going to make this drawing look like anything is that I'm just going to put a ton of detail in the windows and playing around with the lighting, I guess, of the drawing. So that's the best that I've got. But knowing perspective helps you kind of do some of this stuff free-handed, because you don't necessarily have to use the vanishing points if you can eyeball the correct kind of direction the lines need to go. Any good alternatives for, I assume, Copic markers? They are crazy expensive. Honestly, I don't know. I've talked pretty exhaustively about how much I love these markers, but unfortunately you can't get them anymore. And I got these markers, got 144 colors for these markers, and I spent, I think, around 85 cents per marker. So I got the whole set for right around $100 or so, and that is crazy cheap in comparison to Copic markers. But you know, Prismacolor makes markers, but I don't know how good they work. There's the Winsor and Newton markers, but what are those things called? I forget what they're called, but I always forget what they're called. Gosh darn, I know somebody's going to tell me in the chats too. But there's other brands, but I can't speak to them. So I can't help you with choosing a brand. You might get lucky and find some of these Pantone Tria markers on eBay because that's the only place you can find them anymore. And I've seen them come up after getting these. I've seen them pop up every now and again, but getting the set that I did, you're gonna get super lucky if you get this set. And I've been using these markers for, geez, I don't know, yeah, it's like 3 years or something. I've been using these markers for like 3 years and not a single one of them is dried out. And I've done quite a lot of marker work with them, so they've just been fantastic. Have I ever tried acrylic inks? Yeah, that's what I have actually. I have the dollar rounding acrylic inks. I don't know what difference it makes, but yeah, that's the inks that I'm referring to. Do you find ink wash is similar to watercolor? Well, I don't have any experience with watercolor, but it feels like watercolors to me. The acrylic inks that I have, they feel like watercolors to me when I use it. And even black ink, you know, mixing it with water and then, you know, splashing it around and stuff, it feels like watercolors. I don't honestly, I don't know what would be the difference between inks and watercolors aside from what they're made of. Yeah, I don't have enough experience to compare them thoroughly, but once I get some, I will. The best I've done on a building was in 1-point perspective. Yeah, you know, when you do 1-point perspective, you're usually limited. Well, not usually, you are. You're limited to that single vanishing point, so you can really only create the building as you are like looking down a street, and all of like the sidewalks go there, all the buildings kind of go there. It's one-dimensional, I guess you could kind of say. But yeah, you limit yourself by adding that second point. You open up a whole new world of possibilities. So just keep practicing, just keep drawing. If you find something that you like, just draw it. Just you know, the only way to get better at drawing buildings is to draw more buildings. There. Oh, I still have some windows up here that I need to do. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see, what else can I do here? I think I'm going to darken the kind of the scenery down here a little bit, just to make it like fade away into the street a little bit. Kind of give it a subtle vignette, I guess. There. And I think I might add, no, I don't know if I want to add anything here. I think I'm going to leave that. Oh, this needs to be colored. Many like the Winsor and Newton Pro markers. Oh yeah, Pro markers. I've heard of those. They're fairly reasonably priced as well. They're a bit, you know, they're quite a bit cheaper. Am I going to color Nugget blue again? No, I'm going to keep this one just monochromatic with the grays. I'm not going to do any coloring of our little Nugget there, with the exception of a bit more shadow. Bring out that contrast a bit more. little bit on his eyes as well. There we go. Get that fine point. Do his little eye stalks. I don't even know what you call those things. His eye sticks. Let's see, what else? I think I'm going to go in a bit darker in some spots, maybe with the 9. So bring out some of these shadows a bit more. Oh, I keep forgetting that I need to color this up here. Let's have a nice cast shadow from this building. Which reminds me, I should do a cast shadow of all the buildings. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's see here. Where else? Yeah, I think that's good there. What watercolor brands have I considered? I literally haven't even looked at them. So I think one that I'm considering is the... Now I know I'm going to miss Dr. something or other. Dr. something or other brand concentrated watercolors, because they come in what looks like little ink wells with a dropper. I kind of like that. Help me keep everything nice and neat, and I can use my little palette to just drip the water. I kind of like the control that I have with those. So I'm probably gonna go with something exactly like that, or something similar. That exact brand or something similar to that. That's the one, Dr. P.H. Martin's. That's the one. Thank you, Diane. Is it necessary to have art prints when you sell art? Well, it's a really good idea. Now, I don't do the print selling stuff. I don't sell my originals usually. I don't do commissions all that much. And I think I would, if I get a good printer, I would print my own prints. That's what I'd like to do. Maybe something in the future when I, can invest the money in doing such a thing, and I have a little bit larger kind of audience. I don't really want to say audience, but I want to say like a larger fan base, maybe, that I would be able to reliably sell prints to. And then maybe I could probably focus a little bit more on doing some of my original original work. You have the St. Petersburg White Knights, and I love them. Okay, I'll have to look into that. For watercolor beginners, I would say Winsor and Newton. But yeah, going back to your question as to whether or not it's necessary to have art prints, I think that it's if you sell originals or whatever, I think it's a really good idea to also sell prints, because that allows you to sell more of what would otherwise just be a single sale for a fraction of the price. Because if I were to do prints, and I kind of sort of do prints, I do them for Patreon supporters, but I just send those out as small postcard sizes. What I would do is I probably wouldn't sell the original artwork of the prints that I'm selling. I'd probably keep myself from doing that, just for the kind of, I don't know, it feels a little dishonest to sell the original artwork and then also sell prints of it, because if the person's buying the person buying the original piece doesn't want me to sell prints, that would be understandable, because they want to keep that picture kind of to themselves, and they want a bunch of prints wandering about all over the planet. But if I were to do original work and sell prints, I could sell 20 prints as opposed to the single cost of the original, maybe. Thank you, everyone, for the recommendations as far as the watercolors go. I will keep those brands in mind. I don't know how I don't know how different watercolors work for brands or whatever. How significant the difference between brands are. So I'll just, I guess I'll just kind of shop around and look at reviews or whatnot. I could be a little biased towards the Dr. PH simply because there's this one artist, I don't even know the artist's name, that uses them, and I just really like the way their work looks. So I could be tiny bit biased. Simply because of that, but I'll look into other brands for sure. Try to come up with. I'll try to make a decision before too long. I can assure you that once I buy watercolors, you guys will know, because I'll probably do a live stream of me doing my first watercolor piece, whatever that could possibly be. I don't know what I do, but. You know how I love to share those first times with all of you. Yeah, I don't know how much more I can do to this. I'm trying to hang on, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me before I sign off, because honestly I don't know what more I could do to this piece. Is this going to be the first time you're going to do watercolors? Yes, the closest I've gotten to watercolors is I have a set of watercolor pencils, and I have used them to do a commission, but in regards to actual watercolors, I don't really. Honestly, I would call those pencils water soluble colored pencils because they don't feel anything like watercolors. So I've used water soluble colored pencils, and that's the closest I've ever gotten to watercolors. But yeah, it will be the first. It will be the first set of watercolors that I've ever owned, and the first time I've ever used watercolors. So who knows what will come out of them. Maybe this time next year I'll be a watercolor artist instead of a colored pencil and pastel artist. Who knows? White gel pen in the windows. Oh yeah, I kind of like that idea. Yeah, I got a little bit of time left. Got about 15 minutes, so make sure you guys ask me some questions while I add some white gel pen to these windows. That's not really showing up. I don't think the overall picture is all that dark to do too much with this white gel pen, but I will do some shiny windows or whatever. I feel like I need white paint. I'm gonna come down here where it's a bit darker and see if it shows up at all. It's not. Yeah, I don't think you guys are even gonna be able to see what this is doing right now because it's so minor. But it does add a little bit down here where it's darker. So yeah, I can imagine watercolors is a bit messy, but I mean I'm not a total stranger to it or something similar to it, because I did do the inks. I did do the inks a few times, and I think I did pretty good at keeping it under control as far as the mess goes. I'm a pretty neat person when it comes to working on my art stuff, so I don't think the mess or the potential mess is going to scare me away from attempting. I think this building here needs to be a bit darker. Are there good art shops there, or do you buy everything online? You know, there's a couple art stores that I'm willing to walk into. But then there's these art stores that I feel uncomfortable calling them art stores, because it feels like what it feels like is a store that sells the art supplies that you buy your kindergarten student to take on the first day of class. Like, that's what it feels like. And then there's this one other art store. It has 2 stores in Katowice that it's like a hit and miss. They have an okay selection of paper. They don't have a very good selection of sketchbooks. They have a pretty decent selection of pastels. They have a good selection of paint. They have a good selection of paint. Their canvases slash panels they feel cheap. They feel cheap. So I can get a few things from there. I got my Mircon pens from there, which is nice. I got this gel pen from there. I wanted to try it out. It was super cheap, so it works okay, but it's not amazing. But for the most part, I do have to order offline. I get it all from Jackson's, which isn't too bad. But because I have to get it shipped here to Poland, the shipping is painful to pay for. And what I have to end up doing, in order to make the purchase from Jackson's justifiable, I usually have to spend about £100 or more, because if, say I were to buy, I don't know, say I was to buy a sketchbook for like £20, they would charge me like £17 to get it shipped here. So I'd have to buy like 3 of them in order to get that shipping price down to like £5. So I usually kind of hold off for a long time when it comes to ordering supplies. That way I can order all of them at once, and it saves me a ton in shipping cost. Because once you buy stuff over a long period of time, or once you buy stuff at a certain price, like I don't know, like £50 or something, the shipping cost maxes out at like £4 or £5 or something. I don't know. What about buying from Germany? I've looked in some stores, but it doesn't really change much, and Jackson's always has what I need, and it's hard to reliably find an online store in Germany. I mean, it hasn't been easy. I'm gonna come with you to feed your dog. Okay. Did I say what I'm drawing for tomorrow's prompt? Fall. No, I did not, but I was thinking about, I have an idea, but I'm not going to share it with you because I'm a terrible person. Are you going to do any holiday themed art, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's? No, holidays to me only ever mean a day off. They've never really meant anything other than that. So they've never influenced my artwork, and they probably never will. Yeah, never mind. That's all I'm gonna say there. With watercolors, invest in good colors and good paper. And when you start painting, tape the paper down. Yeah, I at this stage, I think it's just best to go with high quality, professional level supplies. So yeah, when I get watercolors, I'm going to do some research first, make sure I'm getting quality products so that I'm not throwing away excess money that I don't have. Let's see, what else? Think about buying at Amazon Germany. Yeah, I've looked. I will have to look at Amazon Germany again. Sometimes I do Amazon UK, but yeah, I'll have to look at Amazon GE, I think it is. Yeah, Amazon GE. Let's see. If you ever master watercolors, you could get the Hayao Miyazaki themed landscape look. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. To paint things that resemble that style. All right, I think, yeah, I'm gonna call it a day. There's only 6 minutes before 14:30 anyway. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I kept it loose. I tried to keep it loose. I hope it still looks cool. I tried to scribble. I wasn't really paying attention a lot to today's piece, and that's what I wanted to do. Just wanted to keep it easy. I wasn't really putting a whole bunch of thought into it. But I like it. It still has an elegance to it, I guess, with our little nugget at the top of the Empire State Building. But the best part of today, as usual, is all of you awesome people. So that is going to be it. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, I will see you in a couple hours. And for everyone else, I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Peace.